It looks like the Yoru rework is a lot closer than we expected, people. What is going on, ProGuides family? It is your host, Sergeant Frost. And boy, did Riot drop a huge news piece of info on the state of the agents and the second half of the Yoru rework today. We're getting all the details regarding these changes for you guys. So sit tight and let's talk about the new and improved Yoru. And at the same time, if you're trying to prepare to take Yoru to the next level when his full rework releases, you gotta check out ProGuides.com, where our Radiant and Immortal level coaches will help you level up your game to new heights. Just click the link in the description to get started, and let's head right into the video. This new state of the agents is helping us paint a bigger picture on the direction of Yoru's rework, and honestly, we have to admit we're liking it a lot so far. With the information we have right now, Yoru is getting all of his abilities except his flash is changed in some way. So that includes his decoy, his gate crash, and his ultimate. Let's get into all of his changed abilities so you guys can know what to expect when his rework drops. We are happy to report that the ability that is arguably getting the biggest makeover in Yoru's kit is his decoy. In the past, his decoy was seen as almost a useless ability in game because it did not provide CC or damage, and it had no real purpose outside of audibly trying to trick people. The kicker about this ability is once you get used to playing against Yoru, the audio from his old footsteps didn't really fool anyone as long as you were paying closely attention to the sound, as the decoy and his real footsteps had distinctly different sounds. This ability is totally redone, so let's look at Riot's official description of this ability to see where they were trying to go with his decoy's design direction. Fake Out, an ability that currently directionally mimics the sound of Yoru's footsteps to mislead enemies, is now a full copy of Yoru. It runs forward, and when it's damaged, it explodes and debuffs enemies. As added flavor, when the copy is shot, it faces the direction of the person that fired the shots and flashes towards their position in a conal direction. A change like this requires the most in terms of new art, so we explored how to visualize these changes early on. We expect you guys to have some questions. After reading this excerpt, it's clear that Riot really wanted this ability to actually trick people and make them second guess themselves when they see his clone coming. The good thing is his allies will be able to tell which version is the real Yoru and which version is a fake clone running around. The devs didn't want internal confusion as to which version is which when in the heat of battle. So it's good to know that your team will have an advantage by knowing which one is which. On the other hand, the enemies will in fact see an identical copy of Yoru, which will make it harder to decipher between the two. Riot stated that during the playtest, they found that the copy was effective at disrupting enemies' moment-to-moment gameplay, which is good, but they didn't want your teammates to be confused in the process. I like this design philosophy because it puts distinct advantage in the hands of Yoru's team. Your team has a situational awareness advantage as to which one is the real one, and your enemies have a disadvantage because they won't be able to tell the wiser until they shoot it. Also, one of the most underrated and best parts of the decoy is the new debuff it has. When Yoru's clone is shot, his clone now stops and turns to the direction of the person that shot it. And it now flashes in the direction that it was shot. Okay, this is a game changer for Yoru because now Yoru has a real reliable entry fragging tool that he and his team can play off of. The physical turn and flash is one of the best setup entry tools that I've ever seen added to a duelist kit. Yoru's attacking game just got a lot more powerful on a gameplay level. Okay, let's move on from his decoy ability and address his gate crash. So, since the first teaser of his rework which showed us a little bit about the rework, not much has been changed since the last bit of news info in regards to his gate crash ability. The only notable change is that the dev team needed to add some art elements to bring Yoru's update to life. From what we see in the gameplay clip of his gate crash, Yoru's gate crash now leaves a little blue puddle at where he reactivated his gate crash. This is to telegraph now if Yoru actually took his TP and stuck it or if he faked it and never reactivated it. This is a nice touch considering that now, as we will talk about in a few minutes, Yoru can now use all of his abilities while in his ultimate, which means he can come out of his TP while ulted and nobody will see him. This new blue puddle is to make it somewhat fair for whatever team is about to get wrecked by the blue ghost of Tashima. Speaking of his ultimate, let's address what changed about Yoru's now really powerful ultimate. Okay, the first thing we need to talk about with his dimensional drift is how powerful it is now conceptually. Yoru now has a lot more freedom when using his ultimate, which only increases his creative possibilities of what he can do with his ultimate by 10-fold. Let's quickly rattle off all of his ultimate changes so you can know what you're working with. Yoru is now no longer revealed to enemies. He is able to cast all of his utility while in dimensional drift. Enemies can hear Yoru's footsteps. Near sight is now removed. Unequipped delay is increased slightly, and cast delay has been added when casting dimensional drift, preventing the invulnerability frame on cast. With all this new info we have on his ultimate, it's safe to say that dimensional drift elevates Yoru's level of play and skill ceiling by a lot. You now have so much freedom to outplay enemies in this ultimate, especially by using your decoy before you run in, to using your TP to fake out which direction you want to travel, to even throwing out flashes as you run by enemies so you can hop out and kill them for free. There is so much potential for what you can do with Yoru's ultimate. He truly is now a trick entry fragger because the tools in his kit allow him to be an illusionist with flashes, which will make him a force to be reckoned with when used by seasoned Yoru players who know what they're doing with his kit in-game. Okay, so what are our final thoughts? Yoru's rework is looking like it's actually going to change his kit dramatically from what it used to be, which is something he needed compared to his first half rework a year ago. Looking at how they changed all of his abilities except his flashes for the better, Yoru's power level will increase by a lot when his rework is released, and we foresee him becoming a much more prominent duelist pick in the meta. The duelist class is kind of dry right now as several duelists are straight up underperforming in the meta. Gone from the F tier he will be on our tier list, and you should look out closely for our next one to see where he will rank in the overall Valorant power rankings. Well guys, that's all we have for the State of the Agents Part 2 update addressing Yoru's rework. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe to keep up to date with the latest Valorant news, updates, and guides. Also, make sure to check out our website for truly amazing on-demand coaching. This has been your host Sergeant Frost, and good luck on the grind this act.